So, what are your hobbies? If that question makes your mind just completely freeze up, you're going to want to stick around. We're about to break down a really simple but powerful strategy called the spike method to make sure you've always got a fascinating answer ready to go. We've all been there, right? Someone asks what you do for fun, and your brain just serves up static. Nothing. And if that happens enough, you can't help but start to wonder, am I just boring? It's a surprisingly common and really frustrating feeling. And what's the typical advice you always get? Oh, just be yourself. The thing is, that's not helpful at all. Someone even called it extrovert propaganda. Because, yeah, for some people, being interesting just comes naturally. But for the rest of us, we might need a little bit of a strategy. So let's start by really digging into this whole personality problem. Why does it feel so much harder to have interesting hobbies and things to talk about as an adult compared to when we were kids? Think back to when you were a kid. It was so easy. Your entire personality could be summed up in a simple, memorable little package. You could meet someone and within a minute they knew, oh, okay, that's the kid who loves Harry Potter, is weirdly good at Connect 4, and knows a ton of frog facts. It was simple, it was distinct, and it was memorable. So maybe the issue isn't that you're boring. Maybe the real issue is that we're all using the wrong definition of personality. So let's try to reframe this a little bit. What is personality in a way that's actually useful? Okay, here's the secret. Personality isn't some deep, mystical thing you have to go find. For all practical purposes, it's just the first few standout things that pop into people's heads when they think of you. It's all about creating clear, memorable associations. Let's do a quick test. When I say the name Elon Musk, what comes to mind? Your brain probably jumps to a couple of key ideas pretty fast, right? Like rich and eccentric. In a nutshell, that's his public personality. All right, let's try another one. Ready? Adele. And boom, instantly you think British, incredible singer, and you probably have this gut feeling that she's super friendly. See how that works? The more clear traits you can link to someone, the more personality they seem to have. So here's the big takeaway. What you're actually searching for isn't a total personality transplant. You just want to be memorable. You want to have interesting things to talk about so you don't have to just talk about the weather. That's the real goal here. So how do you actually build those memorable associations? Well, there's a fantastic strategy for it called the spike method. And get this, it's a trick borrowed from the world of elite college admissions. So a spike is just a focused area of interest that makes you stand out from the crowd. Think about it. Admissions officers see thousands of applications from well-rounded students. A spike, that one specific, maybe even kind of weird thing you're really into, is what makes them stop and remember you. And you know what the best part is? It takes way less effort than you think. When you pick a really niche topic, you can learn more about it than 99% of the entire population with just a little bit of focused curiosity. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? The average person's knowledge on, I don't know, the history of synthesizers is basically zero. But if you spend just a little time on it, your knowledge suddenly becomes this giant, memorable spike that totally stands out. Okay, so that's the concept. Pretty cool, right? But now for the important part. How do you actually build a spike of your own? Now, to prove just how well this works, we're going to pick a topic that most people would call, well, boring. We're going to use cleaning. Yeah, you heard me right, cleaning. Just stay with me on this. So imagine you just decide, you know what, cleaning is going to be my thing. You start learning all the cool new methods, you read up on what people are calling the latest cleaning lore, you watch those super satisfying videos online, and heck, maybe you even save up for a pressure washer. In less than a month, you're an expert. Now, just look at how this completely changes a conversation. Someone asks you what you do for fun, and you have this instant, unique answer that actually starts a conversation. Oh, I'm really into cleaning. Hey, you want to know the real truth about robot vacuums? All of a sudden, you're not just some random person. You're the cleaning person, and that's genuinely interesting. So it really all comes down to this super simple three-step process. First, find something that actually sparks your curiosity. It could be anything: urban beekeeping, competitive cheese rolling, whatever. Second, spend a little time gaining experience in it. You don't need a PhD, you just need to know a bit more than the next person. And third, and this is crucial, you have to actually talk about it. That's how you build the association in people's minds. But wait,
There is one final, absolutely critical rule you have to follow to make this work, and it's all about how you communicate your newfound expertise. You have to talk about your interest in a way that anyone can understand. Let's call it the Bill Nye approach. Don't be the person who uses a ton of jargon and niche terms to sound smart. That's the PhD approach, and it just makes people's eyes glaze over. Instead, break it down simply. Share your enthusiasm. I'm telling you, people will listen to literally any topic as long as you make it accessible and fun.
So that's the spike method. It's not about faking a personality or changing who you are. It's about taking an interest you already have and just turning up the volume on it so you become more memorable and engaging. So the only question left is, what's that one thing you're curious about that you could turn into your spike starting today?